That's the end of our third round of questions. The fourth question, we'll start with Mike, followed by Nick, Jeremiah, and then Pat. And the question is, what new ideas would you champion if you are elected to serve as a city commissioner? Mike?
I guess I'll give you a couple of good examples here, but before I do that, one of the first things that I would champion, if you want to coin that word, is anything that supports quality of life and economic development in our city. That's the two things that I would champion, and whether it be an interest of myself or not, if it's going to, and if I can be persuaded and be shown how it will help enhance our town and our community, I will be not only behind it and champion it, but also help and try to figure out ways that we can promote it and publicize it even more. Aside from that, I think, with some of our flood buyouts and some of that land and some of the properties that we have, we can create some beautiful greenways and things. Again, I'll go back to some of the trails within our city limits and being able to help with our children, giving them safe passages in between parks and playgrounds and schools and things such as that. Along with that is anything that would help and support our existing businesses. One thing we need to understand is that while it's important to bring other businesses and look at other companies to come into our town, we also need to recognize and support and help in whatever means that is, that a city government can do that, the businesses that are in town, as well as any entrepreneurs that we have in our community. Need to remember, Apple started with 2 employees. I think we have some of those employees and some of that entrepreneurial spirit in Madison. We just need to figure out better ways that we can foster that. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. Next to answer this question will be Nick. What new ideas would you champion if you are elected to serve as city commissioner? Nick?
My first idea would be to try and get some of the city has a revolving loan program, and there is some money coming back into that loan fund. I would like to see that go into a Main Street business for someone to come in with a proposal and a plan and put that money back on the street in town, doing some revitalization or bringing a new business downtown. I think that would be a good place to try and park some of that money, for lack of a better term. The second would be to continue to work on our fiscal responsibilities with maintaining our rates, our utility rates, as low as possible, while understanding that they are enterprise funds and they are there to provide a profit to fund some of these enhancement projects. But I would like to maintain fiscal responsibility and get some of that revolving loan money back on the street in town.
Thank you, Nick. Next will be Jeremiah. Jeremiah, what new ideas would you champion if you are elected to serve as city commissioner?
If I'm lucky enough to get on the city commission, I guess one of the things I'd like to look into doing is actually establishing a TIF district for downtown, so downtown businesses would have a mechanism to finance fixing up their buildings and whatnot, or reinvesting in their business, and then they could use that TIF district benefit to pay off the loan. I'm not an advocate for TIFs everywhere, but I think a specific case like our downtown, it would be excellent. The city of Sioux Falls has been doing it for years, and they've had some pretty good luck, so that'd be one thing I'd like to look at.
Thank you, Jeremiah. The final candidate to answer this question will be Patrick. Patrick, what new ideas would you champion if you were elected to serve as a city commissioner?
You know, sometimes it's worse being last. All the ideas that are presented so far are good. They're very good ideas. We have to keep in mind the funding. We're accountable. The city is the fiduciary of the funds. So before we can venture out and spend money on anything, we have to have the funding available. When presented with an idea that is good for the community as a whole, industry and the common, everyday people like myself, then I can support that. One thing is that when you come into Madison, there's been a lot of great strides in making the entrance into our community more presentable. At one time, we were not a very nice looking town when we came in. It's getting a lot better. At one time, the park system was not in good shape, and that isn't that many years ago. They have improved it. And this sells Madison to people. And selling to this community is vital for people, to attract people that want to come and live in a good community. Thank you.
Thank you, Patrick. That concludes the prepared questions that we had from the committee. And the next portion of the forum will allow for questions to come from the audience. And we'd like, if you have a question, to stand up and speak loudly so people can understand the question. If needed, I'll paraphrase the question. We'd like to keep the questions short so the candidates can understand them and answer them. Don't make the questions too broad. You can direct them at an individual candidate, or we'll certainly allow every candidate to answer the questions if they so choose to do so. So with that, I would open it up to questions, and I will try to call on people and pass it around as much as possible. We'll give about 2 minutes, yes, for the same amount of time for answering, or up to 2 minutes. If they can answer it more quickly, that'll be fine. So questions, anyone? We have one here in the second row, so go ahead.
Gentlemen, my name is actually Kenneth Allen. Tonight I'm representing a number of individuals who cannot be here but are very interested in economic development and growth of our town. I do have a number of questions. I will present one and allow others to ask questions too, and if there are no other ones, I would like to present a couple of questions tonight for you. I would like to ask you all to speak to specifics. I think giving us your specific ideas and how you will carry out those ideas is very important, and not just telling us how you would rubber stamp these initiatives. So with that, economic development and retail growth are essential to Madison's future. Please tell us what economic initiatives you will champion and carry out as a city commissioner. Also, please tell us what you think should be done with the funding requests from the Lake Area Improvement Corporation and how that relates to the city economic policies.
I think we actually have a couple of questions there. I think the first question that will go around will be, what economic development and retail development ideas or initiatives would you champion? And I'll make sure our question asker agrees with how I paraphrase that. So a statement on how, let me rephrase that. What economic development and retail development ideas or initiatives would you champion as a candidate or as a city commissioner? And first to answer this will be Nick.
I guess, like I said in my last statement, I would like to make that that revolving loan fund money available to people that come in with a viable business plan to bring a new business to downtown. There's been a lot of talk about needing new retail, and I would agree 100% with that. I don't know how the city can go out and recruit that. I know we can facilitate it and make it as easy for them as possible. You know, with it be it through a revolving loan or potentially a TIF district, but you also don't want to be too involved with the picking of winners and losers or potentially being favorable to one business and not another. But as far as the retail and economic development, you almost have to take an all of the above approach to it. You want to encourage everyone to come to town, but it's very hard to go out and solicit people to come in. But making that funding available and making it as easy for someone to expand or develop or bring a new business to town would be my plan.
Thank you, Nick. Next to answer this question regarding economic development and retail development in Madison will be Jeremiah.
That's a great question, Ashley. I was actually thinking about you. I figured you'd be here, and I would really like you and your posse to set up a cash mob, and maybe once or twice a month you're going to go attack one of the downtown businesses and go buy something. So that's my little homework project for you, Ashley. But I really like Nick's answers, actually. They're very good. The city can't do everything for us, but there are things we can do. I agree that we could be a facilitator, but we can't be paying people to come into town and potentially crippling people that are already here. I'd like to see us make this a good place to live so people want to come here, but I don't know to what degree we need to set people up. I earlier had mentioned that I'd like to set up a TIF district downtown, so if that were possible, I think that would help some current businesses, and it might even get some other people motivated to come into town. But the revolving loan fund's a good idea too. I'm not sure how much money they have in that or how often it actually revolves back, but I would like to see the city continue on something like that.
Thanks, Jeremiah. Next to answer the question regarding economic development and retail development in Madison will be Pat.
Ashley, I think you've been noted for loaded questions, haven't you? I think I've kind of addressed this. What is in the wind for Madison as far as economic development? I really don't know. I've heard a lot of rumor, but rumor is all speculation. Until a concrete plan comes forward from somebody, from somewhere. You know, you've heard over the years, we need another grocery store. We need this, we need that. But every time we do something, we have to keep in mind one thing. Could this adversely affect the business community we have now? And how will it affect the community of Madison as a whole? I'll do the research. I'll take a look at it. And if it has viable for this community and viable for the people of this community and the industrial expansion of this community, I'll get behind it. And I'll do what I can. I do not have the crystal ball. I am one vote, but I'll work for it. Thank you.
Excuse me, the final candidate to answer this question will be Mike, and it regards economic development, retail development in Madison, and what the candidate feels is important in that.
When you're starting to talk about economic development, there is a number of things, and I think Nick had mentioned this as well. It's how you can't look at just one specific thing. You just can't. You need to look at the overall picture as to what's going on in your community. And economic development, entrepreneurship, all of those kind of things, if we can do some things with the revolving fund, or if there's other methods that would be available or become available, we don't know what other ideas might come into our community and become available over the next 3 years. I will tell you this, and I've said this before as well, is that some of the things that we can do as a city to help encourage any entrepreneurships that are going on. There are some kids at DSU, they're doing some fabulous programming things, some Facebook apps, and on and on and on. So there's some things that indeed are happening in our community, and as a city government, we can't pay them to start a business. As an entrepreneur, they got to roll up their sleeves and they got to get in and do it. I've been there, I've done that in this town, and it can work. They just have to figure out exactly the right plan and then make that happen. As a city government, we can work on all of the quality of life issues so that they want to start that business here, they want to do that here. As you do that, more and more companies, businesses are here, and therefore that increases sales and purchases in your retail companies and businesses up and down Main Street.
So